The fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs.
Hey, what's up? This is the Political Brown Kid here. And I just want to touch on this topic of when Donald Trump made the comment about black jobs. And I think some people were upset, at least that's what some of the comments I was seeing online. It seemed like people were kind of offended by that. I know I made comments about it online, but I was jokingly making comments about it because I thought, to be honest with you, it was funny. Because what he actually said was absolutely correct. That the immigrants, particularly Latino community, and I had nothing against the Latino community, especially when people come here legally. I have no problem with that. But unfortunately, minority groups are typically pitted against one another. That's just the way it is. Specifically, when you talk about the hierarchy, if you look at the racial composition in this country, you know this is technically by default a European and or white Caucasian country. So they're going to always ensure that they're at the top of the food chain. The Asians naturally come in at second. You can even probably say the Asians actually, when you look at the data statistics, I do believe that they do better as far as net worth and household incomes than whites. So those two are up at the top. So when you look at the black Americans that are here, and that includes all black people, so that whether you came from the Caribbean, whether you came from Africa, whatever, you're a black American. So the black Americans that are here, and even the African Americans that have been here, that was brought here for, as they say, the foundational black Americans, you can include those in that group. So those individuals in the Latino community, they do intermingle and compete. When Donald Trump is saying about black jobs, that's not necessarily when you say he's talking about black jobs, he's talking about, a janitor or this. See, that's, people need to get rid of the stigma that black is always something negative or broke or poor, because I see people immediately go to those comments. And trust me, the white establishment has made it that way, because when they talk about blacks, when you read, like when I read articles in the Washington Post, they'll say they're black and they're poor, they're black and they live in poor. They always kind of use black and poor in the same sentence. I saw Ted Koppel do it on one thing that I was watching on the internet, and I'm going to post a video on that to show you how when they continually use these words and put them together, people automatically associate certain things with certain individuals. Just like people automatically assume that you're going to have a great life. You see a lot of black women now thinking that they're going to have a better life being with white men. And white people are just as poor as black people. Matter of fact, there's more poor white people than there are poor black people, because by default, there's far more white people in this country than there are blacks. But let me get back on topic. A black job could be an accounting job. It could be a teaching job. It could be a software engineering job. What Donald Trump is actually saying, and I think I can honestly speak for him in this, even though this is just my personal opinion at the moment, but what he means is that you're always in competition and pitted against one another. So let me give you some quick examples, and I'll start here first. If black people don't already understand that black men and black women have been already pitted against one another, and black men are lately losing out to black women when it comes to quote unquote black jobs. So for example, if you are a black male and you are a black female, and you both have almost identical qualifications on your, as far as academic background and as far as career or professional achievements and or expertise, if you both go into an interview or for a job, more than less likely they're going to hire the black female before they hire the black male. And that's just because she brings a different energy. Specifically, if number one, if there are women on the hiring panel, she's going to get hired because it's going to be that female sisterhood, and they're going to stick to code and hire the female. If it's white men on the panel or men on the panel, they're going to bring in the woman because, of course, men want to kind of they're going to want that estrogen to balance out the testosterone, and they don't want to have to compete with another male to come in and try to become the alpha male in their group and take their position. So more than less likely, they're going to gravitate towards the female. And also too, because trust me, I've seen this in the workplace as well. If you have two black individuals, a black man and a black woman working, and it comes time to promote one of them, they're going to give it to the black female for the same reasons that I also mentioned previously, but also because they get to check off an additional box. You get to kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. You get to fill in the female gap, because remember, all women are victims and minorities, even white women. That's the way feminism has staged it. And she fills off the minority gap, being a black woman. So they get to kill two birds with one stone. So when you look at, when they say coming for black jobs, this is how this looks. We know that you have a lot of black men that have records, and I'm not going to make it seem like white men don't have records. They have records too, but you have black men that have records, criminal records, what I mean, that they have in the system. So a lot of jobs they may not qualify for professionally. So some jobs they may gravitate toward, or they just gravitate towards these jobs because this is what they've been groomed to do. So they may have a landscaping business or get into that business, or they're going to get into the general contracting business doing construction, and or maybe even plumbing and electrical. Now, you know how black people can be. We'll discriminate against our own people. I'm not hiring that black person. He ain't going to work hard. He's not going to do this. And then we start talking about what black people are and aren't going to do and how bad their work is going to be. And sometimes these comments that we make are justified because of past experiences that we've had with other individuals. So human beings always form opinions, and they do. You formulate those opinions and you develop those biases and or prejudices based on past performance. So sometimes another black person can hurt another black person's chances of being taken seriously. And so we know black people do this when it comes to construction and landscaping. We'll gravitate immediately towards the Latinos because, of the work ethic and so forth, or the perceived better work ethic. So that's one example. But then the second example aligns with the example I gave with the black man and the black female. If you have a Hispanic or Latino or Latina accountant, and then you have a black accountant, whether it be a black male or black female, and they're both applying for a job, trust me, the white individuals are going to start saying, well, we already have a bunch of black people working here. We have enough black people working here. And even though diversity, equity, and inclusion is kind of being phased out as positions within organizations, that's not saying that organizations aren't looking at the demographic makeup of their organization and saying, we need some more Latino representation here in our accounting department. So let's hire some more of them. And that's what they're going to start doing. They're going to start pointing towards those individuals to fill in either teacher positions. And specifically because if you look at it, a lot of fast food restaurants do that as well, because they know that there's a heavy Latino population and those individuals can speak, two languages. So they already one up on you. And you see that a lot when you go into like the hospitality industry, where you see them hiring those Latinos just because they have that background to deal with the people in their community. But you're going to start seeing that in the teaching profession. You're going to start seeing that in the accounting profession, in the software engineering profession. You're going to see that throughout the gamut, where they're going to start targeting getting more Latinos in those positions just for representation purposes. And also, too, you have to look at it. They are the biggest minority in this country. And so, therefore, they're going to want to be reflected not only in like television roles, they're going to want to be reflected, like I say, in the workforce, whichever, when you're looking at the various industries horizontally, across industries, they're going to want to be represented. And that's what Donald Trump is basically talking about. White people, they're not going to discriminate against white people that much. White people are going to get discriminated against too, just so they can have some quote unquote color within the organization. But for the most part, white people are going to be able to move around and find jobs. Being white by default automatically moves you to the top of the food chain if you're a competent professional. It's the other people that would have to worry. And we as black people already know this. So that is what he means when you're competing with those groups of individuals for those particular type of spots. And organizations are going to have to start taking into consideration that they need some more, quote unquote, color within the organization, whether that be we need more Asians in here, we need more Indians in here, we need more Latinos in here. And that's just the way it is. And typically, when they start going for those two groups, the Latinos and the blacks are always at the bottom, and we're the ones that we compete against one another. So when he says that people are coming for black jobs, that is exactly what he means. So let me know what your thoughts are on this. If you have a different opinion, definitely drop it in the comment section. But definitely hit the like and subscribe button. Once again, this is the Political Brown Kid. I'm out of here.